again?
It's in the group. What's up, y'all? We are live. Coach David here at Metro Jiu-Jitsu, and we have Professor Muhammad. It's like animal lover or something. I don't know what it is.
Wi-Fi?
Yeah, it's like camel, animal, something.
Okay.
We got. This is what happens when we just host our own podcast and don't have a crew, right? Like we just start talking random stuff live. We got new internet to run faster to create better podcasts and have just better performance overall. And they just like redo everything. And that is the most like, and what's crazy, did you see the network here? It's Jedi Temple. At first I thought that was our Wi-Fi. I was like, this is excellent. I'm here for the Jedi Temple Wi-Fi. But it's not us. I don't know.
I see the Jedi Temple.
Yeah,
That's a
right.
cool
It should be ours. I don't know why it's not. I wonder if
That's all David Fox.
I used to be Star Wars. I used to be really big Star Wars. Less than I am now. So I more than I am now, I should say. But we got some stuff to talk about. What's we're just give you guys an idea of what's coming up. We have should women opt out of jiu-jitsu? There being, one pastor is calling for a ban on women doing jiu-jitsu. So I get to, as a Christian, I get to talk about that. As a jiu-jitsu black belt and coach, I get to talk about that. As a father, I get to talk about that. I'm excited. We also have, if something prohibited your kid from training jiu-jitsu, what other sport would you put them in? Would you enroll them in? There we go. I can share my Wi-Fi with you. And then there you go.
Oh, thanks.
Yeah, no sweat.
Those are good questions.
Yep, and then firearm safety training.
Guns.
I'm debating whether I should tell him. I'm gonna tell him. I'm just looking at what are you carrying over there?
HK VP9.
It looks big. It looks big but comfortable. I'd pull it on camera, and I know because I know Zuck said he's gonna bring back free speech, but I don't believe him yet. So we're just gonna leave it over there until.
You know what's funny is my first gun. I was so cautious about carrying a gun with bullets in it that I spent like $1,200 or $1,300 on a gun that had like it was full size gun, but it had to have a safety and it had to be act like safety, the trigger and all that stuff. And there's like a double safety with the one where you lock it by the trigger and then a
hammer. Wow. It wasn't, the hammer wasn't controlled with the trigger?
It was, but like if it was on safety, it wouldn't pull, and like it just had a bunch of features. Very nice gun.
You just had a nice expensive billy club at that point. Like when you need it, right? You don't want to be. That was what my dad always taught me. He's like, I think he quoted a John Wayne. He's like, is it true that you were found with a gun that was loaded and cocked? And he's like, yeah, a gun unloaded and cocked isn't much good for anything, So
today, the clip is loaded, one in the trigger,
in the chamber, absolutely.
And the only thing stopping that thing from going is 5 pounds of pressure.
Yeah. Well, which I think so. They try to make a lot of these. Even have you bought a gas can recently?
Gas can?
A gas can. Like a new school gas can.
Yeah.
Bro, they're tough to use. Like they're very difficult to use. Yeah. Like it takes like some type of like engineering to be able to get that thing open, and they put all of these built-in safety features into tools, gas cans, pistols. At what point does like the personal accountability come back in? To like hey, if you're gonna own a firearm, and this is what I tell a lot of people, like you're gonna own a firearm, like, and you accidentally shoot yourself or someone in the foot, then that's you get to face those charges then,
You gotta have training.
Yeah, of course.
Everybody wants a gun, and I've been in courts in different places where like I've seen hundreds of people fill out applications, but it's like they get the permit, they go through that, what is it, like a 3-hour course or
probably 8-hour CPL class.
CPL 8-hour course, and then you hand them a gun. It's like, I was that way the first time I got mine. I'm like, I got my course and certification, but you give me a gun, I was still scared to carry it.
Well, there's a lot of I mean, there's a lot of. It's a big responsibility, and we're whatever. We'll put this one first. This is fine. This is our third topic, but it'll be our third now. First, and there's a lot of responsibility that goes into firearm training. Number one, I mean, there's how you transport it. So something I didn't realize is if you have a gun in the vehicle, that's considered concealed carry. The second you enter a vehicle, you are concealed carrying a weapon. Even if it's on your lap, if it's on the dashboard, it doesn't matter. So, because you can leave, a lot of people don't realize you can, I'm on the wrong person. You can own a firearm without a CPL. But the second you want to put that in a holster, the second you want to cover it up, that's where the license comes into play. That's what you need a license for. And so they're like, oh, well, I'm not going to do that. I'll just open carry, which you can do. You can walk around. I open carried for several years.
Really?
Yeah. Oh, yeah. And people freak out.
That's kind of annoying.
They freak out, right? But I mean, I open carried for years, like literally years. I had the
license.
No, I had my CPL. I just open carried.
Okay.
Yeah, because again, I would put it in the car. So this is actually back when I was in the jewelry industry. I wore a 3-piece suit. And so I had my vest, but then I would have like the Will Smith, like Bad Boys, like, yeah, I had the
David, you did
I legitimately had it, right here. So that was like the full strap, like back. I did, dude. And it always got comments, and everyone, wants to say, because for me,
what were you carrying?
Glock, 45. So I think it's a 9 or whatever. So it's a Glock. It's a 45 caliber, but it's got some weird acronym.
I better not give up the underhook with that.
I don't. Well, because my thing was, you put a suit coat on or whatever, but for driving, like, I know a lot of people, they like their pistol behind, and that's tough. Like if you're getting carjacked, like this is kind of a tough motion to do to reach back. Where do you like to carry?
When I'm driving,
or wherever.
Honestly, I like to keep it right inside in the winter months, if I'm wearing a big jacket, outside.
Yeah, like in the appendix right there?
No, on the outside of the hip.
Oh,
but
gotcha.
Typically throughout the year, I like to keep it right here. Yeah, right in the appendix.
Yeah, and that's good because you could probably easily grab. I always think of that 8 Mile clip though, like the dude who shoots himself going to get his so. I'm concerned about that. Do you on topic though?
By the way, when I started carrying the appendix and in the side holster, I would drill.
Yeah.
I would drill up, out, up, push
Yeah.
it down, up and out. So
Yeah.
So if I had to pull it out quickly, I have some sense of muscle memory, and that's pretty fun.
No, that's a thing. That's not just like being like that's a whole thing of pulling
It's not a weight belt move.
and even dry firing. That's I think there's value in that.
Yeah, I definitely felt more comfortable just having it there because I knew it was more easily accessible.
Sure. Versus you're fumbling around or anything. So do your kids firearms? Well, let's start. Are they firearm safety trained?
My kids, if I got to keep it real, are firearm aware.
Okay.
Yes, they're firearm aware.
Like,
is that even a word?
Like they see your pistol lying out, they're not going to think it's just a toy and start pulling the trigger and stuff.
No.
For sure.
But yeah, I actually would bring my gun out and I would leave it laying around with no bullets in there.
Test them.
Yes, because they're very curious when they first see it, and I would have them load the clips in, put it in, and I would do a practice with dummy bullets.
Mm.
And even with the dummy bullets, anybody who handles firearms knows, don't put your finger on the trigger.
Yeah, absolutely. Yeah.
So, but yeah, they've gotten exposure to it. They see it all the time, and when I would go out and carry, they would always ask me, "Do you have your gun on you? Do you have your gun on you?"
Just assume I have my ear, right? Like that should be the response. Just assume I have my gun on me.
Yeah, So now they kind of like, I wouldn't say excited, but like they know it's something that comes along with me. And the other day we went to, I think it was Wayne State or somewhere, or a school function. And my kids asked me if I have a gun. I'm like, no, it's illegal to carry it here. Like, oh.
If you get caught, sure it is. Yeah, it absolutely is.
And taking it into a bar or somewhere like that is illegal. But I don't know. I would think that that might be a place where it could be helpful if something went down. But like,
so they when I took the CPL course twice. I was dumb enough to let mine expire, and then I went to. So this is a crazy story. This is a crazy story. To the systems and the insanity of what was 2020. So I let it expire. I was like, I want to carry again. I got to take the class again. So I took it through Craig's. Craig Funk hosted his, and I was like, well, that's way better. That's a way funner than just sitting at some gun range for 8 hours. And
I could see him just putting on a show.
Dude, he is. It's
that
like
animated dude.
If Matt Walsh held a CPL class like that, or Clint Eastwood, maybe. But he had. So it was, the course was cool, and it was a good refresher of legal. So a couple things in there, because he had a visitation or a Zoom visitation from a state representative whose name I can't remember.
Really?
Yeah, and because he opened up the legal Q&A, and so everyone's like, well, can you carry in a hospital? And he's like, well, it's a gun-free zone, and the state representative, it's probably a good thing I can't remember his name. He's like, listen. Who's going to know you have that gun? You walk into a hospital, who's going to know? There's no metal detectors there. And if you need it and you pull it out and you save the day with your firearm, yep, you're technically breaking the law, but I bet there's a lot of people there who are going to be happy you were carrying. Because if you're not at like a police or whatever, now that's not like again, I believe a lot of people own and carry firearms who probably shouldn't have a license to drive, let alone hold a firearm. So it's not like a blank check to go do so. But you think of like high profile, which I don't even know why hospitals are gun free. To be honest with you, like I wouldn't call that a high profile one. But like your kid's school, church, technically you need the permission. If they give you permission to carry in there, then you can carry in there. But whatever. Again, who's going to know? Yeah. Who's going to know? A lot of them have security teams, which we're going to get to. They have security teams. But so he said that. So I was like, that's interesting. Did you you don't have to answer, but do you carry like in gun-free zones, or do you not risk it?
It's illegal, Coach.
Yeah, it's illegal. Yeah, there you go. That's the answer. So then I go to get my license. Cause so you pass the course, you have to go to the state. You have to go downtown or whatever. It was a 9-month waiting period during 2020, and here was the messed up part. I was like, it's 9 months to get a gun or a CPL, but it's only 2 weeks to get a marriage license because you had everything was booked online, and I was like, well, this is a simple fix. I clicked the wrong button. I went marriage license. Okay, I'm here for a CPL. So I show up downtown in the Coleman A. Young building, and they're like, "You're here for what?" I was like, "A CPL." They're like, "It says marriage license." I was like, "I don't know, dude. Like, it just might have been a mistake. Anyway, can we just get the CPL?" They're like, "They're not even gonna let you in." Yeah, and so a lot of people, because everyone was freaking. That was I legitimately thought we were gonna see Detroit burn again. Remember those riots down there? I was messaging Isaac and them. That was what? That was insane. And so everyone was trying to get a gun and a CPL, and so it was. Yeah, you had to wait 9 months.
Guns are not the answer.
It's a tool. It's like anything else.
And I think everybody who can emotionally handle that type of power should have one. But you go get a gun, it's not the answer. That doesn't really give you safety. That could make you more. Yeah, it's a sense of security, but that could make you more of a liability. Yeah.
it's certainly a sense of security, and I've never, again, like a lot of times, I think if you were to like put someone under a stressful situation, and hunters will get this, right? Like everyone can shoot, everyone can get their shot within a nice grouping for within when they're not under stress, just nice casual target. But you get an animal out there, the deer comes out, coyote, boar, whatever you're aiming, and now it's like, now it's real, dude. It's like your adrenaline's pumping, you're shaking, and that is just a totally different stress test for it. So I have no desire to have to use a firearm for self defense. I have no desire whatsoever for that.
Agreed.
Yeah, and you talk to people who have, and it's a life changing event. Like a lot of times they have to move.
If they use it.
If they use it and they end up killing someone, yeah, just because now it's like, imagine it made news, right? Like, local family business owner, whatever. Someone breaks in and he kills two assailants or whatever. Like your neighbors, you're the guy now who, like, right, wrong, or different, you're a murderer in some people's eyes.
Legally, I've heard that you're safer if you kill them versus injure them.
Yeah.
Even till today, I mean, I was advised differently.
Bring them back in the house if they're.
Yeah, like I would say, you know what? If something's about to go down, I don't want to kill anybody. Let me shoot them in the leg, and then I'll talk to them and lecture them. But like, if you shoot them in the leg or you just purposely injure them to stop the threat, you could be at risk of being like sued or having them make the whatever.
You have made the decision. If you invade my home, you have made the decision that your life is not that valuable. Like, period.
I think most people think that way, and
I don't want that to be a thing, right? Like I want there to be plenty of deterrence, right? Like, if you go to, depending on which side of my house you turn around, like my house looks like the place you don't want to rob anyway. Like I got like a bunch of like yard tools and stuff out. Like my fire pit is crumbling as we speak. Like, so it just kind of looks like a, that's one deterrent, right? I just don't want to. I don't want to be in that position, dude. Because your kids. I mean, imagine now you've got a corpse on your floor, and like 5-year-old Landon dealing with like a corpse, and it's a bloody mess. Like that, they actually did go into that with Craig's CPL, like the whole psychological aspect of. This dude had a super nice mansion. Someone invaded it, and he just like protected his home. It was just brain matter all over his snow white walls, and like legit, like the guy just threw up and had like a mental breakdown as a result. Like had to go to therapy for like years after it. There's a lot more to it than just what the maybe.
Kill him.
Yeah. There's a lot more to it.
Taking somebody's life is.
A lot more to it.
Yeah.
On that topic, though, of security teams, so you and I, obviously both men of faith, and we both go to, our appropriate places of worship, church, mosque. You're on Sundays, right? Sunday? You guys, service is held on Sunday?
Yeah, there's a community event, stuff like that.
Gotcha. Yeah, so, but when they're there, you guys obviously have security teams in place. Same for us as well. What type of training do they go through? Yours. We'll answer yours, and then I'll answer mine to the best of my ability.
I don't know. I do know that there is quite a few people who have CPLs that are on site with security, and like a couple of places that I've been to, they've contracted out like security teams, but like Crescent Academy, it's right down the street from here. Excuse me. And when you drop off your kids at Crescent Academy, they have two ends of the park. They only have one entrance and one exit, and they have a security guard directing traffic very specifically, so you can't just be driving around, entering into the parking lot. And then in the backside, one entrance. It's kind of carefully funneled. So they have one, two, like 2 to 3 security guards. It's very clear by the way they're dressing. They are a security team and they're contracted or hired. They carry guns. And I don't know what training they go through. I can tell you that it's been numerous times when I've talked to people in security. They've said,
What? What?
okay, they've said, I really need to learn that jiu-jitsu stuff.
Oh my gosh. Well, because I would imagine they've never had to use their firearm, right? Or even draw it. So a lot of times it's more just the confidence of like, it's more the confidence of being able to. It's more the confidence of being able to approach somebody and say, hey, and a lot of times like, hey, what's going on? And you're like that dude who came into the gym, he wanted the scrap. I think he just wanted to test himself. But like to where you feel comfortable putting your hands on someone if need be. Again, just to get them off site. You can control them, get them off site, and move on. I know at our church. I mean, they've asked me, which is weird. They've asked me to like join the team, but they haven't asked me to train the team. And so they're like, you should join the team. I was like, no, I'm good. Like, no, I'm good. Thanks, guys. Like, I don't need to be surrounded by a bunch of guys with guns who don't know any combat. I'm all right.
David, most people, like, they know you train jiu-jitsu and they know you're a martial artist and, you're a black belt, but they don't have a real concept. They understand, like, what you're capable of. I was talking to an attorney the other day, and really nice guy. And me and Nancy were talking to him. We were just, hanging out. And he's like, he grabbed my arm. He's like, and he's an attorney. He's a high profile attorney. And he's like, this is a weapon. He grabbed my arm. He's like, this is a weapon. You guys know that this is a weapon. He's a really funny guy.
Your hands?
He grabbed my arm and he was just telling Nancy, he's like, oh, this martial arts is a weapon. And he must have had some type of experience or represented somebody, but like if you're trained, like you are a weapon.
Is that going to be held against? Like, could that be held? Like, is that going to be used against us that we train?
Definitely. Do we have to register? I don't know if those days are there.
That's not a thing.
Dude, you got to register yourself as a weapon.
That was never I don't think that was ever a thing.
I don't think it was. But you're held to a different standard if something ever happens and you're in an altercation, like the police should be.
Yeah.
But yeah, we're definitely held to a different standard, and people don't know and understand the level or magnitude of what a Brazilian Jiu-Jitsu black belt can do. So they just think he's a badass because he's a black belt, but they don't understand.
I don't feel that way. I don't, dude. I honestly, and you're probably gonna throw something at me. I feel so sore and broken most days. Like I don't, like I'm just hoping that my kids don't come up and hug me from the side too fast. Like I'm just in a lot of times it's so, I'm not in a position to do any of that. Like I don't want any, I know when adrenaline kicks in or whatever, like you'll be like, I'm ready to, but I just don't see it that way. Guys, do me a favor as well. I see we got some people watching. How's the audio? I got, they're saying the audio wasn't matching up or whatever. Is the audio good? Video good? Just comment for me. Let me know. I'll see if we can adjust on the fly. I don't feel that way though, dude. I don't feel that way at all.
The thing is if you get a bunch of high level basketball players competing against each other, not many people are going to stand out, right. And like it's not like we go to the gym and we're training with a bunch of people who've never trained before.
Yeah, sure.
And so, we don't get to appreciate our own, we're just on a different level. We don't get to appreciate your own skill level, because if you took the type of training that, we do on a daily basis and just trained or applied it on people who don't know any or much Brazilian Jiu-Jitsu, you know, it would be a different ballgame. But we're essentially in combat, full contact combat training, 2, 3, 4 days a week. You just don't get to see what you're capable of, and somebody who knows what the skill level of a Brazilian Jiu-Jitsu black belt is and can do, they felt it before.
We have a couple guys, super green white belts, super green. So that's not a belt rank. I should clarify. There's not a super green white belt. Super green in the sense that they're new. They don't have any grappling experience, and they come through here, and it is like, that's fun, dude. Like the stuff at the fair, most of them, like that's just fun. Like because it's literally like you could. I mean, that's like playing with my kids, Like I can be broken and in a lot of pain, and still like there's not a lot of competition there, right? I guess I'm just thinking of guys like Nate, Big Nate. I don't want him to be my first match. I drew his straw twice the past 2 weeks. He's been we do 15-minute matches at the end. It's at the end of class. I think I told you this, dude. I thought I was gonna stroke out, like so deep into it. I'm like, I'm gonna die.
Do you know how long the average fight? Let me Google it. Or ask chat how long the average fight time is in the street.
Do you know how long it is, or am I guessing?
I'm gonna guess around 30 seconds to like 2 minutes.
Yeah, I would say 2 minutes. I think is long. Like if it's 2 minutes, I'm gonna say that's like a lot of that's kind of like. Have you ever seen them like hype and they kind of like dance, like they dance around each other and there's no actual combat? I would say
the clock doesn't start there.
Right, that's what I'm saying. Like
the big
when
circle.
where they're but it's got to be under a minute, right?
What's the average time of a street fight? Let's see.
We need a Jamie or someone to Google it.
I got him here.
Wait, yeah.
We're gonna call him something. 30 seconds to 2 minutes.
30 seconds to 2 minutes.
Yeah,
2 minutes is generous.
Very.
I mean, I guess if no one's trained, that's generous. But I mean, like that 30 seconds.
Listen to this. Unlike movie sports, there are no rounds, which I tell our students all the time. In a fight, there's no rules. There is no rules. And if you're, we end our training with 15-minute rounds because when you are exhausted and when you are tired, that's when jiu-jitsu. That's when you need to use your jiu-jitsu. So the fight often ends when one party either lands a decisive blow, gets taken to the ground.
There we go. Oh, it ends when they get taken to the ground.
Yeah, the fight usually ends, lands a decisive blow, gets taken to the ground. When we go to the ground, that's the beginning, and or chooses to disengage. So.
All right, check this out. So, I like when it goes to the ground, though. When it goes to the ground, I mean, I guess it is practically over for most people, though. I'm thinking, like for you and I, like that's where we start. But if we get, and most people don't know mount, most people are mount escape, most people don't know side control escape, and or, when you're dropping bombs or hammer punches or whatever, hammer throws, like that's gonna end it over pretty quick for most people. So, have you been in physical altercations since you started training jiu-jitsu?
No, man.
I haven't. I've never been in one.
Yeah, since
anyone we're talking about, like there's a couple youth group, kids got into it and I had to break it up, and then they started attacking me. But that wasn't like I just got on. It wasn't like really a fight. Like he just went at me and I just kind of. Swept him and got on top, so it wasn't really fun.
I remember about I don't know, maybe 10 years ago, 7 years ago or something. I was talking to Brent Insco.
Okay. Yeah, Coach Brent over at Downriver.
Yeah.
Yeah, I know Brent.
So
He was a substitute teacher at the time.
Brent?
At the time,
A substitute teacher?
I believe it was something like that. And he was a brown belt at the time.
Where was he substituting? I should call him.
Yeah, I don't remember.
I didn't realize.
Is he on your speed dial?
I think I might have his. I've got a lot of people's cell phone numbers that might not pick up.
It's a small community.
Yeah.
Anyway, so I was talking to Brent, and what happened was he was substitute teaching, and he said some kid was getting loud with him or whatever. And Brent was a brown belt at the time.
Can you imagine not knowing who you're messing with like that?
Well, if you like, Brent wasn't as built as he is today, and he definitely has a lot more muscle mass today.
I've only ever seen him like shredded. Like as long as I've known him, he's been shredded.
Yeah, when he was a brown belt, he was definitely he was in shape.
Yeah,
but he's got more muscle today.
Gotcha.
But like with clothes, he didn't look like a physically intimidating guy.
Sure.
But he's a brown belt.
Gotcha.
And
those are the dangerous ones.
So I could see it: clean cut, short hair, substitute teacher, and if so, I trained with him, and sometimes he could come off a little bit cold.
Sure. Yeah.
And I could just see it happening, but he's like, something happened at school, and a kid got smart with him, and a kid attacked him.
He attacked Brent?
Yes, the kid attacked Brent, and Brent was like, "Dude, I didn't even expect it, think about it, and my muscle memory took over." He's like, he went to like come at me or take me down or something like that. He's like, I sprawled, pushed the head down, and like did 4 or 5 moves in one. And he's like, I just didn't realize, because it's the only time I've ever been into a fight like outside of training.
Sure.
And he's like, the muscle memory kicked in, and I was just surprised at how fast I reacted, because it wasn't a freeze.
What grade is it? Well, yeah, I mean, and it's
probably high school.
That is the purpose of training, right? Like that's the purpose of training. That exact reason is the purpose of training, because like he's able to react like that, he's able to move that quick, and I'd be curious what he did. I can't imagine him choking the kid, right? Like, unless that was his last day substitute teaching.
Yeah, maybe he got a bad grade. I mean, you know how kids are in high school. They, because Brent looks young, and we're talking about 10 years ago.
He looks like Ryan Reynolds did.
Maybe.
Yeah, I've always likened him to Ryan Reynolds. Like, as long as I've known him, like he literally looks like Ryan Reynolds, like in my eyes.
So anyway, the muscle memory, the muscle memory kicked in, and what were we talking about?
Well, just like if he had choked the kid out, and then you're no longer a substitute teacher because you choked this. Even if you get attacked, you can't. So I would imagine maybe just sprawled, circled to the back, and
the point of that story was like everything kicked in so fast, and he executed all of his jiu-jitsu, and he's like, I didn't even think about it, I didn't know it, and I didn't realize what my training what my training can do if something ever happened and I wasn't ready. And but that's Brazilian jiu-jitsu.
Well, and if he didn't realize it, and he was a brown belt, so he'd been training probably close to a decade at that point. At least 8 years.
Yeah. So now he's I mean, we're talking about double the time now. Mm-hmm. Now we're talking about 20 years of training. So, people don't understand the training that a Brazilian Jiu-Jitsu black belt has and what they can do. And sometimes a black belt forgets about how efficiently they could handle a physical altercation. So
that's probably me. I might fall in that category. I could see that. Dude. I don't mean to hijack the podcast. This dude's commenting. Look at this guy. Like this would be funny. I can't bring it up. These Pakistani gi. So dude, he's commenting on our podcast. He's like, "Hello, Emi Sportswear. What's up, Emi Sportswear? Good sir or madam, do you have goods to sell us?" Like they are hustlers, dude. Like they are. I don't know what time is it. Hey Siri. Oh, it's not picking me up. Why
is he on there?
I don't know, but like they're dude, like
Brother,
you're coming
brother,
on a podcast. You know what
brother,
I mean?
brother, this is not good. Brother, this is not good. Please, brother, you could message us some other time. We have customers we're talking to, brother. People want to talk about jiu-jitsu, brother. Please. Not now, brother. Please. Okay, this is not good. In Arabic, they say aib, like it's embarrassing. Please, brother. People do not want to see this. Okay, I see your location. You message me somewhere else. And if David finds out what you're doing,
gosh.
if he's not laughing about it, then you're in trouble.
Oh my gosh. Like,
Please, brother.
That's just, I mean, like they were, I don't know what time, there's probably a 12-hour time difference, right? It's something
Yeah.
like it's got to be midnight over there. And they're just like, hey, you want to sell, we'll sell you cheap crap. So, yeah, like I got us on a tangent, but like, so I think I would fall in that category of like, yeah, I probably don't know. I don't know. I just know that, well, why would you measure what you can do against the untrained person though? You know what I mean? Like that's why I like tournaments. Like who
Yeah.
cares what you can do against the untrained dude?
Yeah.
Nobody cares. That's like, I don't know. That's like who's a famous football player? Give me somebody. I don't know. Give me anybody. I don't know him. Football player. Deion Sanders. I don't know. Like give me a football player.
Prime time. Deion Sanders. Yeah.
Okay. So like that'd be like putting Deion Sanders up against like, high school football player or someone who doesn't play football, like against me, putting Deion Sanders against me playing football. Like what's the fun in that for anybody? There is none. Moving right along. Should a pastor, I'm going to pull this up. So I got it. Pastor calls for girls to be excluded from BJJ. Jocko Willink stands up to defend him. So we've got, let's see, Pastor Partridge. Let's see, he posted, parents, Dale Partridge. I wonder if he trains. I gotta stalk him after this. Parents, stop putting your daughters into jiu-jitsu and wrestling. You're letting 14-year-old boys grope, mount, and dominate your little girl. Well, not if she's good, dog. If she sucks, then yeah, sure. Yes, teach them self-defense, but do so with self-awareness and weapons training, not ground fighting. I'm going to let you comment on this. I'm going to Google this, dude. Go ahead. Thoughts?
Pros, cons, females training jiu-jitsu. So what are the pros? What are the cons? What do you want to hear first?
He's saying stop putting your daughters into jiu-jitsu and wrestling. Well, so he's probably, because the fastest growing sport is female wrestling, girl wrestling. It's women's wrestling. It's the fastest growing high school sport. So, and I think it's a great thing. I think it's fantastic. I think if I had to choose between my daughter learning how to wrestle or my daughter learning how to dance and prep to be on a pole later in life, that's a pretty obvious choice to me. But he's saying you're letting 14-year-old boys grope, mount, and dominate your little girl. I don't know if I've ever been groped training. Have you ever been? Show me on this doll. Where who's groping them, dude?
No, I haven't. But
like this guy, like I don't know, man.
Yeah, so like when you have to pop your hips into like movement or transition or positioning, it's funny. And I just remember one of my training partners, the way he explained it to me, I went like, "What?"
I'm looking at it right now. Like so.
So okay, so my opinion on the females in self-defense and jiu-jitsu. So obviously, the earlier they start, the better it is for them. I don't think anybody denies that a teenage female or a adult female needs to have some type of self-defense training, and they're more vulnerable. They're smaller. Typically, they're weaker than just men. If you're just comparing a man and a woman, but starting early is probably the best most efficient way to give a female some tips and tools on how to defend themselves. As far as going into the teenage years, so the singlets are, you could almost say they're exposing. I mean, they're very tight,
Sure.
they're very short, so I can see it. And if you're not, if you can't see the technique of wrestling and how you're controlling the body, and you're only seeing where the body is like paused for a minute, or what you're using to try to flip, twist, and turn, it does look, it's like you shouldn't like touch a person. You shouldn't scoop underneath their groin like you're grabbing their butt to try to lift them up.
Yeah, wrestling especially. They do a lot of high crotch. There's a lot of
I mean, it's very like it looks like it looks, what's the word? It looks in.
I wouldn't call it sexual, but I mean, like, here's I think part of the
intrusive.
problem.
Like it's
invasive.
Yeah,
invasive.
It's very close, like where you're grabbing, but like, so if you don't know anything about wrestling, you're actually using the place where you could leverage and control the other person's body. So if you're like, well, I don't want to grab underneath there, I just want to grab maybe his knee. Now his knee to his hip has mobility, and he could twist, he could turn, and you cannot control the person's body.
Yeah.
As far as 14-year-old girls competing against teenage boys, you know, I would like to see females competing with just females.
Sure. Yeah.
I would like to see that, and I would agree that it should stay that way, especially teenagers.
So I think I mean, there's a couple points here, right? So I'm gonna guess he doesn't train. He's just kind of like, he's outside looking in. I'm not gonna dig too far into it. I think it's just I'm gonna give him the benefit of the doubt. He's maybe got pure motives. Here's what I would ask. Here's what I would ask. He says, do so with self-awareness and weapons training. So what's the plan, Dale? What's the plan when your daughter's being harassed at school? Pull out her 9mm and show the dude what's going on. What's the deal when your daughter, maybe the nice young gentleman who took her to prom isn't such a nice young gentleman? Like, what's the plan? Pull out a freaking knife out of her dress or something? Like, what is the plan?
Yeah.
So I think there's a little bit of naivety there, a little bit. So So you know, yeah, I mean, jiu-jitsu, like the running joke in jiu-jitsu is it looks gay. You outside looking, like it looks, jiu-jitsu and wrestling looks, I mean, there's a lot of like really awkward looking positions. Top mount, back mount, mounted triangle, the triangle choke in general. They're all like, dude, that's really weird. You expect me to do that? But I promise you, every time, and I've been triangle choked, mounted by, at this point, probably like several hundred different people. Under no terms or conditions was I thinking about like, wow, this is a big turn on for me. Like that's never been my approach, right? And I think the other way now, I'll also give some cadence here. You are dealing with 14-year-old boys. Their hormones are raging. They may not have the self-control that men have, and depending on I'll say the club or the school or the program that's running, like the coach, that's where the coach needs to be like on it, you know, and they need to be matchmaking effectively. They need to be like, I won't put up with any tolerance. I remember there was what happened with trying to remind you of the circumstance without specific names, but a longtime member and coach of ours, like she got injured somehow like she got choked really hard, and then her dad came in, and her dad is like super silent. And like, I can't remember what happened, but he's like, I never want this to happen again. We ended up kicking the kid out because it was, or something like,
Yeah, I know what you're talking about.
I'm trying to remember the full circumstances, but we're like, yeah, it can't happen because he was just on an ego trip. That's what it was. Like the kid was overly aggressive when they matched up.
It was essentially, it was like you could almost say hazing. The kid was being extra aggressive, talking to somebody of the opposite sex while they were training. And
I remember that. Yeah.
Yeah. So there was he was talking
taunting. They were called taunting.
Yeah.
Yeah. We kicked them out.
Yeah. So yeah, like you said, you have to be on top of that because that's just, he's probably like what,
dude, he's
18 now?
He's probably 18 now.
Yeah.
In fact, I think I saw him post from his account. So he was a child at the time. He's probably got his own account. I think I saw him post like, "I'm coming back, guys," and I read it. I was like, "You thought you were coming back?" Not to us anyway. But I could be wrong. Does it feel like the past 7 years has just flown by? Like I'm trying to I put things
Doesn't seem like 7 years.
Yeah, it doesn't seem like 7 years. I put things really before COVID and after COVID. Like that's kind of like my BC. Call it BC before COVID.
You know, one thing I was really excited about was COVID is like everybody started to shut down, right? Businesses were shutting down one by one.
You're excited about that?
Well, let me finish.
Okay.
Like, no, I wasn't excited. Business were shutting down, but like businesses after business after business, and then fear started to take over. And all I kept thinking is like, man, maybe I get to take a break. And then the gym started to shut down, gym after gym after gym. And obviously, we were probably one of the last ones in the whole country to shut down.
Yeah.
And then, and I think we shut down just for a few days so we could say, okay, it's cleaned.
2 weeks. 2 weeks.
Yeah, but we already had
2 weeks to flatten the curve.
Yeah, they're like, you need to sanitize the your spaces. Well, we already have an ozone machine. You need to, clean the facility. We have a cleaning crew that comes in there every day. And I remember you're like, no, let's just stay open. I'm like, can I just take a break?
So I had, what I'm really proud of. I made a video and we sent this out to members. I made a YouTube video. It has aged so well. Like I literally made it March 17th of 2020. It's on YouTube.
2020?
The day after lockdowns. Or maybe the day, it was like within a couple days, right? So it wasn't like, well, let me see how this turns out to see how it's going to be publicly accepted. And it was just like everything I would hold to it, I would remake it today. It was like, listen, guys, stay away from sick people. If you're sick, stay away from others. But this is fear-mongering at textbook fear-mongering. And it just aged. And so I was like, this is a great time to show your kids one thing or the other. Like, it's the most powerful motivator on the planet is fear, period.
Yeah.
Most powerful one. And so I was like, now is a chance because they're going to remember this. Right. And I think I made it. It was like 3 or 4 minutes long. I'm pretty sure. I think so it's on YouTube. And then I think I posted it on Facebook and Nancy may have made me take it down. Well, because things were like hot then, dude. You know what I mean? Like they were hot. Like people were trying to get us shut down. They were calling the cops on us. Like it was a
troll. You want to talk about?
It wasn't even troll. It wasn't even trolling, dude. Like trolling is like, it was just like I'm bored. This was legitimate malice. You guys are killing kids. And it was malice, dude. Like it was malicious at its finest. And so that was back in the day. That's where I take everything. So to bring it full circle, when I look back at these 7 years, from when we partnered up, so it'll be 6 years open. Is that right? 2018.
Technically, wouldn't it be 17?
I don't think we were.
Was it 18?
I don't think we were open, and you and I were certainly we were partnered up in 17, but it took us about a year of planning, getting the lease.
18.
And then I think September, December of 8. This has got to be December of 18. So 26, yeah, 26 years. And lots of stories, dude. Maybe that could be a whole different like content stream of just like, hey, coach, remember when? Like, and I'm just gonna bring up a story, like, tell me about a time, just random stories of things you remember. What's the wildest one you've got?
From COVID or the last
No,
like
no, 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 just
7
6
years?
years of just gym life, just owning a gym.
If you want to train jujitsu, train jujitsu. Don't open up a gym so you could train jujitsu.
Yeah, that's for sure. That's true.
It was man, it's been a freaking, I mean, that should be a whole podcast of the lifeline of Metro Jiu-Jitsu.
Imagine if all you had to do was coach classes.
That would be awesome.
Like it's like listen, you don't have to do anything else. I just gotta coach classes.
Dude. I can't even fathom that right now.
Yeah. Well, because you know the entire pipeline, you know the entire like process start to finish. Like if it's I mean, I'm not gonna nerd out. I mean, it's like a 12-point system. You know, coaching classes is one of them.
It's an important part, but yeah, there's a lot of pieces. But yeah, the last 7 years, man, it's been it's gone by
It's gone by fast,
so quick. Yeah,
it's gone by really fast. I mean, I'm looking forward to the future, right? But like it's gone by really, really fast, and especially opening up back up here in Westland, I'm just like, I was talking to you about last night, right, dude? Last night was wild. Like I had 4 different people in here. Like we had dude coming in to enroll he came back to enroll, and then we had a trial. They never show up early. This one showed up 15 minutes early for the trial class. Is that dude I was telling you about? And then these other 2 summer camp parents showed up, and it's just me. Like Coach Shea was on the mat, but like you know he doesn't really know how to do summer camp tours yet or anything. And I'm like looking at all these things. I'm like, dude, I wonder if this looks as chaotic as it feels right now. So that like they're all asking me 21 different questions, and I'm just like kind of showing them around, and I'm just thinking like, yeah, but I kind of like the startup story from that. You know, starting at Rebag versus, you know, I mean that's how we did it in Southgate.
Yeah.
All the way down to cleaning the mats ourselves.
Yeah.
You know?
Yeah. Yeah. It's owning a gym is a very big operation, and jiu-jitsu changes people's lives. And you know, like you look at a building like a hospital or like just a monument. There's a lot of logistics that go into keeping that thing going.
Sure.
And things that like talk about like a IT or security or HVAC or maintenance. Like there's so much that goes into making sure that training jiu-jitsu is basically all you have to do. Like we try to remove all of the hurdles, all of the obstacles, you know, for somebody to walk in and feel like, okay, the mat is calling me and all I have to do is train.
Yeah.
Everything from the recovery, from communications, tracking your classes, you know, giving you the extra pieces of jiu-jitsu to study at home.
Yeah.
Like there's so many little different things, reminders if you haven't trained, calls if you haven't trained. There's so many different things that are put into place to make it easy to train jiu-jitsu.
Sure.
So that's when I say there's a lot of things that are going on. Yeah, we just make your job easy, you know? So
I think so something I want to go back and tie into this this women training though, these girls training. I would feel a level of guilt. I'd feel a level of guilt if my daughter got attacked, like assaulted. Even just like standard assault, like not even sexually assaulted, but certainly sexually assaulted too. I would feel a level of guilt if I did nothing to prepare her for that. You know, if she seizes up, if she like freeze up in the moment, that's not, that's on her, right? But like to give her nothing, I'd feel pretty guilty about that, man. What do you think?
Well, let's talk about the cons of jiu-jitsu.
Okay.
Like, what is a con of females training jiu-jitsu?
I think there's. Well, you go start. Go ahead.
Well, one is they're always going to be smaller and lighter as a general rule
course, yeah.
than their male counterparts. So if they are training with like boys, or like typically they're just smaller human beings.
Of course. Because men are different than women, and women are different than men.
There's a difference.
Of course.
Yeah.
Of course.
Like
Just
a
so
man
that we're
is
clear.
typically bigger, taller, stronger. They have bigger hands.
Yeah.
And a woman is small, petite,
Yeah. Sure.
They have genetically, they look different.
Yeah.
A man and a woman.
Yeah.
So that's checked off because jiu-jitsu actually is made and started, and the foundation of Brazilian jiu-jitsu is for somebody smaller and weaker to defend themselves against a bigger, larger opponent, and just to survive like an attack. That's one.
Yeah. Yeah. I think, I do think that being that's male dominated sport is, just the con of it is to get into it's daunting. It's intimidating. It's intimidating to get into, like wrestling. Like for women to get into gymnastics, I don't know how the breakdown is, but I see it seems like pretty evenly split.
2 days ago, there was a nice girl. I think her name is Justice. Justice came in. She brought her daughter in, and it was something that they decided. Justice's mom and Justice's grandma came in, brought her daughter in for jiu-jitsu classes, and her daughter, who was like 10 or 11 years old, she was crying before she got on the mat. You could see that this little girl was full of life. I could tell she was like a fun, happy, cheerful girl, and mom was real supportive. But before she got on the mat, she was like crying. And I asked her mom, because she covered her face, I'm like, is she laughing or crying?
She was like weeping.
Yeah, but I wasn't sure if she was like an embarrassed laugh, cry, or whatever it was, because she covered her face.
Nervous laugh too, yeah.
So obviously it was a little bit of all of them, but she was emotionally like having trouble getting on the mat.
Before she got on the mat.
Yes.
Okay.
So you're right. Jiu-jitsu is very intimidating when you just hear it. It's very intimidating to get on the mat. So obviously our program recognizes that. Our coaches go through lots of different child development training, communication training, leadership training. We know to identify cues of when somebody's uncomfortable, and we know that not everybody literally needs their hand held. They just need to feel comfortable and safe in the larger space.
Sure.
And so, our system and our training of our coaches took this girl and they got her on the mat, and, with no interaction from parents, with no coming in to say, are you okay? Or like, let me help you. Let me tell her to do this or that. Like this is the kids' time to enjoy jiu-jitsu and try jiu-jitsu to see if they like it. You're never going to know if you like something if you have, your husband, your wife, your father, grandmother saying, go out there, do it, just do it, get in there. So this is a time when that 10-year-old who's walking on the mat, and by the way, this happens like all the time with kids and adults, not just kids. This was a time for her to like experience this on her own. And not only did she do that, but at the end of the class, she was like she was just a different girl. She just felt like free, comfortable, and she was obviously very happy that, her parents gave her that push to get on there.
Yeah.
And so, and that's really all a parent has to do if they're interested in getting their kids into jiu-jitsu is, look, you have one job. You're the one who gives your children the hugs, the kisses, the emotional support.
Sure.
And when it's time to take them to school, you're going to take them and drop them off and let the teachers do their job.
Yeah.
When it's time for jiu-jitsu or to try jiu-jitsu, you're just the ride. You're just the ride to sit back and watch the show. And that's what happened. And I think that if you're interested in jiu-jitsu, we understand that. and the different the certified training that we have for not just ourselves, our coaches, it helps check off all those boxes where all you have to do is show up and let your kids do their thing.
Yeah.
And we're not a military school, so you'll see that it's the kids' idea if they want to do jiu-jitsu.
Yeah, I think,
And usually they end up loving it.
I mean, they like it. They like it for a time, right? And I think that's and that's where there's a honeymoon period of anything.
Yeah.
Imagine talk to a married couple. Is marriage always enjoyable?
It depends if you're asking the husband or asking the wife.
I don't think it matters.
You're right. You're right.
Yeah, I think you like to say it's always no, it's not always enjoyable. And we like as
I think the husband or the wife would probably say the same. Well, it's not always enjoyable.
Yeah,
you're right.
It depends if they're both being honest, right?
Yeah.
So I think, but is it always enjoyable? So if you're like, oh well, because that's the thing in Western society. Oh well, if they enjoy it. No. That's not the metric of whether you should, at least for me, right, is not the metric of, whether I should be doing something. You know what I don't enjoy? I don't enjoy eating leafy greens. They taste like exactly as they look. Like they're not like scrumptious. You know what I do enjoy? Eating ice cream and pizza. Like pizza, especially like Jewish style, thin crust, New York style pizza. That's with ranch dressing. I love that.
But, you mean Italian?
Is that Italian?
I never heard of Jewish like cuisine being known as pizza.
Look up kosher pizza.
I know kosher cold cuts. Pizza I've never heard of.
I could be wrong.
Anyway.
I could be, but like pizza, right? And then that's not the metric in which you should be like. You should be and I think it's something different. Like if you're looking for a hobby for your child, then yes, the metric should be should they enjoy it. But by and large, your child is something that is you're trying to get an end product out of. It should be very intentional, right? So you know what my kids for damn sure don't enjoy? School. My kids don't enjoy school. So like, do I wake up each morning and or like whenever they're squawking to go to bed or whatever, and they, I don't want to go to bed or I don't, I hate school. Blah, blah. Do I say, oh, well, how are you feeling, Scarlett? Are you not feeling school today? Do you need a mental health day? All right, we'll keep my 7-year-old home because she calls the shots in this. Like that is asinine.
Let me tell you something. We now that I think about it, we need to bring some data that we've been tracking white belts, blue belts, how many people show up, how many people get to their white, one stripe, blue belt, purple, how often they quit.
Yeah.
We need to bring some of that data. I think that'll be fun to show. But I would
I think it's about 9 months is when they quit typically, right?
Is that the average? Sign up?
Is that the average? For adult, I think it's 9 months.
Industry, it's maybe that our metric is a lot longer.
Is that okay?
Our retention for how long a person stays, I'll challenge anybody on that, coast to coast.
Yeah.
But listen to this. I would argue that 99% of people, and we're just talking about kids, when they try jiu-jitsu the first time, they absolutely love it. And they're like, I want to do it. I want to sign up.
I agree.
99% of people.
I agree. Yeah.
If that statistic is correct,
I agree.
Okay.
Close.
Yeah. I think both of us agree. If that statistic is correct and the kids want to do it and mom and dad signs it up, they clearly love it. They're enjoying it. They're having a good time. Why after 6 months to 9 months does a mom or husband or wife, if we were talking about kids, why do they come to Coach David and say, you know what, they don't like it anymore and I don't think we should do it? So go ahead.
So I think there's several reasons to this. I think it's that they're missing opportunities elsewhere. And, I was talking to Terry Willman, who's been, her son Jackson, they've been, they're literally one of our first members, and she has like shared some of those struggles with us. He's like, yeah. He's on the comp team, but he's missing out on birthday parties, and he has to cut in the summertime. Bro, I mean, like right now, pretty easy. It's easier to train jujitsu because it looks just horrendous outside. Well, it's not bad today, but like when it was 2 degrees outside, you're not going outside. Like that's not tempting, So it's like, oh, I'm gonna play in my pad or I'm gonna go to jujitsu. But when it's summertime and your kids are at pool parties and they're doing whatever they're doing, that's super tempting. So it's not that they don't like jujitsu, and this is a building in case. It's not that they don't like jujitsu. It's that I don't want to miss out on that. It's not that they don't like jujitsu. And again, I got kids, so like we eat our own dog food here. It's that they just got Mario Party or they want to play Luigi's Mansion. It's not that they don't like jujitsu. It could just be I'm tired. I'm tired today, which is fine. We're not talking about 5 days. We're not talking about comp team, which is something different. But we're talking about why do we? I asked the kids this too. Why do you train jujitsu? Because you make us. Well, yes, but why do I make you? So that what? So that you know what? They can tell you so that we know how to protect ourselves, right? And so that you can build a strong what? So we can build a strong body. Yeah, that's exactly why. So I don't want to hear it. And you choose you choose the 2 days. I don't care what 2 days you guys go. I don't care if you mix and match them. I don't care if you do 5 p.m. or 6 p.m. I don't care. You choose it, but we're not squawking about it. And it used to be 3. So I'm not like this hard, like it used to be 3 days a week. And then again, Amanda's not, maybe we should have Amanda handle the cancellations or Nancy. Have them and then the parents be like, oh, well, it's tough to get them here. And Nancy's going to sit there with her 6 kids and be like, really? Tell me about how hard it is to get your kids to sporting events. Nancy, well, if there was ever a candidate that would be perfect for autonomous vehicles, Nancy would be it. To just sit there and just be let the Tesla or whatever do the driving. Nancy would be so it's. I'm telling you, I'm gonna get the banner that says "Kids don't quit, parents do." It's gonna be 20 feet wide, like that, because that is it. That is it. And they're like, oh well, a certain community is gonna end up in the chat and be like, oh well, then they won't talk to you when they grow up. Bullshit. They will send you a thank you letter after their approval letter to whatever college they're gonna go to. After they get it, you know how many kids I know are making more money than their parents? A lot of them are making now more and their parents are stoked about it, so I think that's why they quit. The parents give up if they knew, and I think that the kids, they're like dogs, they can smell fear. The kids can smell if you're gonna punk out. I'm dead. The kids can smell if you're gonna punk out. They're like, I don't want to go today. And if your answer is anything other than tough luck, sorry, we're going today, then they pack up their stuff and they go. Right. But if they're used to screaming and getting their way, and you do that once, now you're setting a precedent.
I think honestly, I think that's the smartest way to approach something that's very good for your children, especially from the beginning. Because if you approach it and then say, you know what, let's see if you like it, and the kids try it and they're like, yeah, I like it, great, it's actually good for you, right? But if you approach it from, this is good for you, and I'm going to want you to do this, you might like it, you might not. But if they initially hear that from their parents, from mom or dad, then they're going to have a better understanding and a reference point of, why did I start this? But you said, see if I like it. But you said, see if I like it. And and the same for adults. You have to approach something that's good for you because it's good for you. If you approach it because it's fun and you like it, it's not always going to be fun.
Well, and then so here, what are you tell me, what are you training a kid to do if the second something stops being enjoyable, they get to quit? What are you training them? What are you telling them? What are you training them to do?
To be a quitter.
To quit.
Yeah, to quit.
Is your job always fun, Coach?
No.
Yeah?
No.
Yeah, how about anyone here watching? Y'all watching? Your job's fun? Your job is just so fun every day. Every day, I can't wait to go to work. Every part of everything of my job every day is fun, right? No, you're so that you're I'm not feeling. What is it, Jocko's thing, right? Discipline equals freedom. If you build, like, is working out? How about working out? Is working out fun? Yeah, I mean, some days.
Yeah, some days.
Some days it's fun.
Yeah.
A lot of days, like, when I'm tired and sore, or like the family event, whatever it is, like there's a lot of other things going on. But like, well, that sounds a lot more fun, than going and deadlifting with my bad knee. Dude, Arafat axe kick chopped like my foot. Like he went for like a takedown and just like stomped my foot is like so swollen inside my shoe right now, man.
Arafat is out of control. And then he gets up and just starts laughing.
Yeah, he does. Like I legit might swallow. So like to like lift right now, like it's not super. Doesn't sound super fun. I think that's what you're training at, and then it comes off. It comes off cold. Obviously, you could say, "Oh, you're biased. You own the gym." Well, I wouldn't do this for my own kids if I didn't believe in it, though.
No,
you know what I mean. So, I mean, that's my thought on it, man. Speaking of women in jiu-jitsu, I don't know if she's still watching. Athena says, "Hey, coaches, miss you guys." Wow, this is really big. Why is it so big? Yeah, I don't like. Athena is she's one of our blue, but this is taking up the entire screen, dude. There we go. Hey, coaches, miss you guys. So Athena's been again one of our first members and training the longest. She's a blue belt, Metro blue belt. She's got 3 kids now, I think, and she's a good example of 2 or 3. I can't remember. Sorry, Athena, fact check me on that. But she's a good example of like, some days she would train, some weeks she would train more consistently, and then others she wouldn't. Like because life got in the way. But she's like, that's something I got to work through. It's just kind of trying to make it. And now it's one of those times where she's got some personal things she's got to attend to, and she's not training at the moment. But I know that she'll be back on when her schedule and things align. So like that happens, dude. Like that happens. That happens with people. So has there ever been anything in your career, your jiu-jitsu career, that has like you've been off, like you've had to take time off training, and it would be understandable?
Yes, there's been quite a few, and that's I've had quite a few times I've had to take time off, and even from my first 6 months, I popped a rib. Have you ever popped a rib?
I don't think I popped a rib, because how long was your I don't think I popped a rib so much as I was at a tournament, and they were coming in. He kind of did like this like weave pass, but then threw a heavy crossface with it, and so my spine, like it kind of created that contortion my spine I was telling you about. And then I think I went to go sit up at the same time, and it just hurts just thinking about it, man. And as I'm going to sit up, like it's like something popped, like the movie Alien, and it comes out like it like popped out. Literally, like I'm gonna say my upper abdomen was like the only time I like felt like I had a 6-pack. Like my upper abdomen's popping out, and dude, it affected my breathing. Like I'm like, and Amanda, I felt like crying. Like I've never been in so much pain that I felt like crying. But I come over and Amanda's watching. She's like, "Are you okay?" And I'm like, I'm trying to catch my breath and everything. So I couldn't. I don't know if it was a popped rib, but it was like just an ab pop. Like, how long was your recovery with your popped rib?
So it happened at like 6 months into training, and I had to take for I'd say 3-4 months. My training was affected.
Wow.
I tried to work through it.
Right at the start of training, huh?
Yeah.
Jeez.
I tried to take a couple days off, a week off. I went back, and so that was a lingering injury, and that was my first lesson in jiu-jitsu. The more you love something, the more obstacles are going to get in your way from doing it.
Yeah.
And then it got into work, and got into schedule change, and I just felt like my entire, because you were you had me training at 5 o'clock in the morning.
Yeah.
The
Well,
more
it was mutual. It's not like it's not like I went and got you out of bed. But
yeah,
it was,
I
it was
mean,
mutual.
I did ask myself every morning, why am I doing this? And I really couldn't understand.
Yeah.
But anyway, the more I felt like I really loved jujitsu and wanted to learn about it and get better at it, I just felt like there were so many more things that kept getting in my way to prove to me and the mat that that I love it. And I just felt like I had to put my time, my sacrifices would not stop jumping in front of me in order to make it work. My schedule, my family, my job.
Yeah. Yeah.
You know, like so many things I'd have to like say, I can't do jujitsu. I can't go to, this family thing because I have to train, or I can't, hang out with my friends because I have to get my training in. And it seemed like for the first 5 years, I had to like explain to everybody by just not being there that I have to go to jiu-jitsu.
You know, that's interesting. Like
and the injuries are a whole other thing.
I think there's that's actually an interesting concept. I'd love to talk to like maybe someone who can explain this better. I'm not going to call them enablers. I'm not going to call them bad influences. But you mentioned the first 5 years, like when you first got into jiu-jitsu.
Yeah.
And when you said something like, "Oh, I got to go train," like how did they take that as like, was it always like a negotiation of like, well, do you really have to train, or what's going to happen if you've been? And then after the 5-year mark, like that was the end of the conversation. Like, what are you doing on, like this dude at my church, man, like he's like, they're trying to get together this like men's study, which I don't want to do anyway. Like, so I should clarify that because I believe you make time for what's important to you. He's like, it's on Thursdays. I was like, oh, I have wrestling class on Thursdays. He's like, well, can't you wrestle another day? I said, I don't think you understand. I don't think you understand. Like I've covered, I don't think you understand. Like I'm
not like that, bro.
Yeah. So was there like any was it like a negotiation with this family? Like I'm thinking family events, but whatever. Was it like they didn't realize the priority it took in your mind?
Nobody understands.
Yeah.
Nobody does. Nobody understands the sacrifice that we make. For the first like 2 to 3 years, or so, maybe 5 years, they're like, oh, okay, great. And then like the whole response changes. Is like, enough of that. You're still doing that. Like you go like 5 days a week already.
You're
what do you, yeah.
You're obsessive.
Like just take a day off, or like, okay, enough. You can go tomorrow or the next day. And I felt like, honestly, for me, that was good for me because I was being tested not to go train because I could responsibly go do something responsible.
It's always
I can make a good choice, but the better one in my head was always to train.
Yeah, well, and that's I think those are the ones that carry weight, right? Like if it's no one's like no one's inviting you to go do blow like down in the hood, like they're like, hey, we want you to come to your kid's recital. Extreme comparisons, right? But like you've got, it's always something responsible though, because you could be like, oh, I have to work, or I gotta work, I got house chores, or I gotta work on something. We all have that. Like we all get a job. We've all got, a lot of us have kids and family, and like so like I get it. So how important is it to you? And that's what we've got right now, dude. How many classes do we offer a week? I like, there are classes being added I don't even know about.
5, 6,
I
7,
swear I don't even
8,
know.
9, 10, 11, like 11, 12
No,
classes. Almost like 13, 14 now.
I think when you add, so did you know Mark and them are doing like 7:30s?
Wow.
There's like 2 7:30 classes.
Yeah.
So there's a lot of, like there's probably 15.
Wow.
15 training opportunities.
And they're not, I don't think they're even on our website.
They're not. Like,
I think we show 10 or 12, but
you got like the weekdays, you got the weekends, you got the 1 p.m.s, you got the 6:30 zombies 3 times a week. And then Mark and them are doing their like bonus pirate crew. One is 7:30 a.m.s. Like if you can't make any of those, like then
you're the problem.
Yeah, maybe you need to quit your job. Or like I don't know. Like I don't know. Like if you're working 80 hours and you can't, like your job will replace you. Like they will, I promise. They've got There's no end of Indeed applications waiting to replace you. Or AI software, depending who you talk to. You missed that. Like, or no, Mark was there. He's like, don't trust. He came in. He's like, don't trust AI. It's gonna put you. Did he say he's gonna put like CPAs out of business or whatever? I was like, I'm not sure if I trust AI to do my CPA. I guess it depends what I get, how much I get back. I don't know.
I use AI and that type of technology all the time.
For what? Like how?
Bro,
how?
You know what somebody told me the other day? A member actually.
Okay.
He told me that, and I was kind of like, I kind of felt like a little offended. He says, Muhammad, no disrespect, but AI is smarter than you and somebody else we were talking about put together, and you guys just can't even compare to the knowledge that they have. I'm like,
who's doubting that? Is anyone actually doubting that?
Well, then I'm like, he's like, it can do everything you can do, more, better, faster. And I said, yeah, bro, but the touch of the human touch and the experience that like a man or a woman has or kids, they build up a human artificial intelligence, a human database of experiences and how to learn and how to act and interact in the world. And I just think that there's some things that a robot, it could learn it by reading it, but if you can't feel something, there's something there that artificial intelligence just can't do, and it's just going to be missing. But saying that, I just think I think it's a good thing at the right time in our life.
Yeah.
Because government's probably been using it for many years before now.
I think it's been around a long time. And so if even the name of it though, I think it's deceptive. It's not artificial intelligence. It's not thinking for itself. It doesn't have autonomy. The software is not deciding. It's not waking up in the morning and deciding what its task list is. It's entirely being prompted by something and programmed by something, and it has a built-in, and inherently has a built-in bias. Every one of us have a built-in bias or a built-in worldview. So, like, where's that come from, right? And if you ask it, like, is there a God? I don't know. I'm curious. Like, you have Chat GPT or one of is God real? What is it? At Chat GPT?
Yeah.
Is God real? And it's gonna be like, seek a religious professional. Silence is heavy.
This is one of the most profound and personal questions people will grapple with. Whether or not God is real is something that varies widely depending on the individual beliefs.
It was a yes or no question.
Backgrounds. Philosophers, scientists debate this question. Yeah, that's the wrong answer.
So what? Okay. What did it say? It said it varies based on what?
This is real. Whether or not God is real varies widely depending on individual beliefs, religious backgrounds, and philosophical perspectives. Some people firmly believe in a higher power, divine being, finding a purpose and meaning in their faith. Others might be agnostic, unsure of the existence of God, or atheist, not believing in a deity.
So in turn, right? So like it's trying to play both sides. And this goes back to, because I think that's actually an accurate answer, right? Like you and I, like you're not gonna talk you and I out of that God is real. Like we firmly believe God is real, right? But like we were like I was raised in the church, like from my I've got a lot built into my internal program to create my worldview. Not the least of which is God's own engagement and involvement in my life.
Is God real?
Yes.
Question mark. It should be one answer. Yes.
But so here's the as it pertains to a software. And if you ask a human, they're like, prove it. Okay, well, prove God's not real. Let's start there, right? But if it were to say yes, then it has bias. So it's a biased software.
No, it's not.
If it says yes,
on that question, that's not a biased thing. Is God real or is God not?
Well, to you and I, it's not biased, but because you're like, of course he is. But you talk to an atheist or someone who doesn't believe in God.
What color is this?
Purple, purple, pinkish fuchsia.
Okay.
Yeah.
Can we say purple?
Sure. Okay. We'll call it. It has a purple hue. Sure.
Purple.
Yeah.
Are you or I biased if we say this is purple?
Biased?
There's no bias. It's purple.
Well,
There's no. There's not. Yeah.
though there is with that can, you have a objectively agreed upon definition of purple, and you're able to hold it. I think that's the big thing for a lot of people. They can't physically hold. They can't physically hold.
Okay.
Something they can't hold God.
I
Right?
get it. I get it.
You know what I mean?
I get it. But the question is yes. And artificial intelligence, that is a place where it's like, if the question was, why would people believe in God or not believe in God? That's a different question. I would accept that answer.
Sure.
But in this question, is God real? Yes or no? Does God exist? It's very simple. It's yes. There's no if, ands, or buts about it. You cannot debate it.
Well, that would whoever you were talking with, that's a perfect example of. He's like, oh, it's smarter than you and I.
It's not.
Well, because I mean, if you were to ask me to provide proof of God, I couldn't provide proof of God. I couldn't provide proof that God exists.
Listen,
I can have a lot of compelling. I have a lot of compelling evidence, right? But like, if we're starting from like a bias, and you're like, oh well, I don't believe, like, I will be able to find any way down to like, how scripture fulfilled in prophecy. Like you're like, oh, it was all hacked, it was hoaxed, it was ever. If you don't want to believe, I won't be able to provide any evidence for you.
Yeah.
So I won't be able to. And so if someone's going to use, and think about how many users you just eliminated. If you put that into ChatGPT and it says yes, how many people are going to quit using it altogether right now? A lot. Millions of people are going to be like, no, it's biased, and then put it aside. What if it said no? Would you stop using it? Is God real? It says no.
ChatGPT?
Yeah. I would. I don't really use it that much now because it's wrong. I mean, it's wrong a lot.
Well, when you Google something and you get a definition, I think what it does is it makes our job easier in like getting the bulk of the information in one spot and going back and then cleaning it up. But if you think ChatGPT is going to do it all for you,
It won't.
no, it helps you kind of take all this information and just bring it down to here maybe. But it is a good resource, but this would probably be an example of why ChatGPT is not smarter than me. It's not smarter than you. Artificial intelligence at the highest level is not smarter than you and I, because you ask a robot that's worth $100 million, you ask if God is real and it gives me this answer, I'm going to see how dumb you actually are and that you're controlled by somebody else.
Well, I mean,
let me ask the human who created you.
Yeah, I mean, Scripture says the fool says in his heart there is no God. But I do think, to your point, that it says like that you go back to, like, I think there's some things that's the human touch. Those of us who believe it, and this is not meant to be like, I'm not trying to compel anyone here one way or the other from a religious standpoint. We're just talking about AI and the human experience. There are things where you and I are very emotional. I mean, humans are emotional, but you and I especially, we're very emotional. And you're like, dude, I just feel like this is. How many decisions have we made where you're like, dude, I feel like this is the right move, and I'm like, show me, and you're like, I can't show you. You're like, I'm just like, you're following your intuition, right? Because you got a lot of intuition. And how many people believe in God, or or a higher power, or whatever, and because of something they have felt, right? Because and you're trying to, I mean, even explain. Have ChatGPT. What's it explain? What does it feel like to be loved? Right? I mean, let's start. What's it feel like to be loved? You ask anybody like that, they're going to get a totally different answer. I mean, I feel loved. How I feel loved is totally different than you and probably everyone else. Like, we all have our own different love language. I'm curious if it brings up love languages, but like, that's an example of there's a whole human experience and feelings and emotions and things get in there, and it's I think it's a great tool. I think it's really great for, like, yo, I don't have time to give me 10 hours. Like, give me the elevator speech. What's everyone saying on this? It's actually really helpful when it summarizes Facebook comments. because it'll summarize all 200 of them. It's like, well, some people are mocking this guy over his suit. I was like, I gotta go read those. Like I gotta, like, if there's jokes in the comments, I gotta go read those. What's it saying though? Does that have anything?
Yeah, I mean, for it to be like, it feels like warmth, trust, knowing someone cares for you. They use adjectives like you feel like you can open up to yourself, about a combination of peace, excitement, warmth, and trust, a deep sense of knowing someone cares for you. I mean, those are some pretty good examples, but this is another example of you could read it, but until you feel it, it's just not the same. You could put every adjective in there, but until you feel it, it's not the same. And so
that's a combination about it's known as an intellectual knowledge of God, right? There's a head knowledge of God versus an experiential knowledge of God, and I think it's dangerous to go both ways, though. I think because if your feelings, let's tie it back to jiu-jitsu. I don't always feel like going to jiu-jitsu. I don't always feel. Sometimes there's always the thing of like, what if I wasn't married and had kids? Hollywood loves to paint that picture, right? Like they love to paint that picture of. They almost romanticize the like, I married the wrong person, go back to the high school sweetheart. That was the truth, like the mistrain. Like they love to paint that picture in these Hallmark movies, right? What they are romanticizing is adultery, plain and simple, right? Like you married someone, you committed someone for life. That's an oath. Now, if you messed up, dog, you messed up. Like that's. Yeah, that's why it shouldn't be entered into lightly. But so like these feelings of, what if one day I just felt really strongly that I don't want to be a family man anymore and I'm going to go travel the world. Like you can't trust your feelings either. Right. So like there's this whole of like, who am I and what do I stand for thing. But you can't trust your. It's not
Human Resources is going to get on us about this. We're going to say, why aren't you guys talking about jiu-jitsu?
I was thinking about that. Nancy's like going to comment, right? She's going to pull the plug, right? She's going to turn off the Wi-Fi here.
Yeah, we're going to get written up. And yep, I would not be surprised if that happens. Talk about jiu-jitsu, guys.
Yeah. Well, I think okay, but jiu-jitsu is a tool for if you want peak performance.
Yeah.
Like if you want to be able to perform at your peak outside of like even off the mats, like that it gives you, doesn't that feel like a heart? Like we know when your phone's glitching up and it's like, and then you just have to do a soft or hard reset and then it just wiped it. Now it's going good again. That's what jiu-jitsu feels like after class. You're like, all that noise I walked in here with, that would be a good one. I gotta write that down. That's a good content.
That's a good explanation.
Yeah, no one steal my content piece. I gotta make that. But that's what jiu-jitsu is too. And so all of these things, like they provide clarity. And how many times have we had conversations like this on the mat that we just don't document?
Oh man,
so many times.
Yeah, there's a brotherhood, sisterhood, and a sense of like. Football team, people like serving in the military together, that they were in certain units or whatever.
Very much so,
basketball teams, like when people reach either a pinnacle or in a place where like they really gave it their all at something, you build a sense of you build like classes, freshman class, sophomore, junior, senior. You remember those people, and the class of jiu-jitsu, it's one big class. It's more about like under 13 and then, maybe a little bit of teenage, but then adult, right?
Yeah.
And the class of people are a community of people that.
Well, and when you say when you say class, you mean almost like graduating class, like a high school class, not social class? Or are you're saying social class?
No, like graduating class.
Yep. Okay.
But it would essentially be like 9th through 12th. So that's the cool thing about jiu-jitsu. There's the variety of people and ages is so wide. It's not like only people my age, my height, or only married people. Like you meet so many different people, and that's the beauty of jiu-jitsu is you get to like, my point is the bond that you build with them is done on the mat. And it's not like I happen to be in the same building.
Yeah.
I'm actually a member.
Yeah.
I don't really train, and I want to be your buddy.
Yeah.
It's not possible to form that type of friendship unless you're on the mat, like Alvaro says, getting after it or sacrificing your time away from your job, your family. When you do that and you get on the mat, that is where you really build like that brotherhood, sisterhood, and the sense of like, man, we have a connection that other people just don't have.
Do you think, I'm curious now that like, I think, so we're able to, we regularly will, and when I say we, I don't just mean you and I, of course, but like dude, I've talked about, money, the Ukraine war, the gender identity movement, the religion and faith, and like all of the topics that you're not supposed to talk about. Like I've talked about those, and just in general, like not trying to push an agenda one way or the other, just a convo like you and I had back and forth on the mat with people. And I think it's because like when you get in the comment threads and you start talking about any of these taboo topics, you're like, oh, we don't talk about that. It's because it doesn't come from a place of they can't trust you, right? And or they believe this line is split of like they're my enemy, right? You're either with me or against me. And when you take that to its fullest, they're trying to hurt me. Well, we just spent 60 minutes literally trying to choke each other out. So like I know if you wanted to genuinely hurt me, you would have done so on the mat. Like you would have done it then. But since you don't, right? There's an extreme level of trust built there, and so now it's like, hey, I can trust you, and I can trust you to talk about this. And again, not everybody. I mean, some people, like not everyone, but some people do.
Well,
right?
I think you accept their opinion.
Yeah.
With less judgment.
Yeah.
Because you do trust a person.
Of course.
So yeah, I think you're right about that. If you're training with somebody and they could really hurt you.
Yeah.
They could hurt you, they could disable you, they could put you to sleep. And if you trust a person to go be around every day, you don't have to like their opinion. But you know what? You will accept it as their opinion versus a stranger saying, this is my opinion.
Yeah.
So I think that is a way to like here, that's why I think we don't judge our teammates for anything they do. It doesn't matter what race, or what gender they are, or background they come from, because we love them for as a student, as an athlete, as a competitor, and they respect us as coaches and as an organization. And that's what we have in common.
Yeah.
If other things might be there, fine. But usually we'll accept who they are because they're putting in the hard work and the sacrifice to be better.
Well, and I think it's, yeah. I mean, even try get AI, get Chat GPT to kind of explain this, right? Like you and I, we've been on here almost 2 hours. And we haven't been talking exclusively about this, but like why? Like if you're like, again, yo Fox, why is it such a deep rooted camaraderie? Why? I don't. I can only tell you what it feels like, dude. Like I can just tell you. I mean, I've gone with few except. I mean, there's been some people I've rolled with, and they were trying to hurt me, and I'm like, you're a dick. Like I'm not rolling with you again. Or I'm only gonna roll with you if we're gonna fight. Like that's
you're gonna get beeped and canceled.
Yeah, I know, but I can't explain it. Like what is it that makes it feel just that trust? What, just because they grapple, you only trust someone if you grapple?
No. Look, if you have you ever broken a arm or a leg?
My own arm or leg? Yeah, I think I broke my forearm in dodgeball. In fourth grade, I broke my forearm in dodgeball. Yeah.
Somebody threw a ball so hard they broke your forearm?
No. But I was playing dodgeball and I went to go I think I went to either go catch and or dodge, and I just landed on my forearm and it broke. But I was a fat kid, so it was a lot of weight at the time.
White men can't jump.
What they can, I can't anyway.
Anyway, if you've ever broken a leg or arm, and you're talking to someone and you talk about broken leg or arm, you both you both been there. You understand that's a very traumatic experience, and you can talk about it. If you've ever been in a car accident, if you've ever had like a knee surgery, a back surgery, it's like that's a very traumatic experience, and you have a connection with somebody. You know what it takes. You know what it feels like to go through it, and that experience you can only get on the same wavelength if you've done it and you're doing it with people, especially your first like 5 to 10 years. So
we talk about, you talk about connection, a lot, like even in communication. That's why I always push best we can. I know like you're going to Coach Bruno, Sensei Bruno's promotion tomorrow. Like I always try to push as we can in-person seminars, scratch that podcast, because like there is a connection that happens. And Jiu-Jitsu has, I don't know what it was like selling Jiu-Jitsu or pushing Jiu-Jitsu before COVID and lockdowns, but man, the world is so much more virtual now. I mean, like it's crazy. Like people are content just doing like virtual stuff that I would think would be in person.
Yeah, we're going to fly out to Bruno's. I think he's getting his last stripe on his belt.
Sixth, right?
Sixth stripe on his belt.
Degree.
And for you white belts, he has to wait 5 years in between each stripe.
No, it's more than that. And now I think he's been waiting. Go ahead, I'll look it up. I think he's been waiting 6 though. Keep going.
So somebody asked me, well, like, why are you going, man? Like, why not just congratulate him or whatever? And, and I actually was telling my mom last night, I said, the reason why I'm going, Metro is going, is because you're nice to somebody doesn't mean you're a friend. You're loyal. Because you give somebody a big hug every time you see them, but that does not show a true friend and a true loyalty. And I said, I would rather go out there and do it in person. And like, that's the best way to show what he means to us and what a friend means to me. A phone call is great instead of a like. A phone call is much better than a like, right? And a visit is much better than a phone call. And if you want to show true friendship and true loyalty, like it's not just when you see a person. It's not just when you talk to a person. So, we're going because like we obviously understand through jiu-jitsu, when you really want to show somebody, go above and beyond, don't hit a like.
Yeah.
Call them. Don't just call them. Go visit them. And we're going to show we're going to do that and lead by example and show even if it's just for a stripe. We visited Alvarez for one of his promotions. It's a big deal to a black belt as much as it is to a white belt.
So I'm looking at this this chart. 6th degree, you have to be 43 and up, and you're right. It is 5 years. So he's not. It's not even a solid red belt after this. It's red and black. Hang on, let me see if I'm pulling this up right. Because you've got. Hang on. Please, I'm gonna roll the dice here. Oh, that's not what I wanted to do. Red and black. Let me see if I can pull this up. Jamie, pull this up. We need a Jamie.
If I got a Jamie built in, if you can connect me.
I'm trying. I don't think I can. Hang on. Give it a second.
Time requirements.
I know. Yeah, so I see it. I was just trying to put it on the screen. So we've got, it's 5 years, but it's not even red and black yet. Let's see here. Desktop. Here we go. It's coming 3, 2. Oh, wow. That's just, okay. Well, it took over the entire screen. We'll talk over it. You've got, here we go. It's 5 years. 5 years in between, but he's not going to be solid red. It's going to be red black.
Yeah, and he said this is the last one before he gets. I think he gets his red belt or something.
Yeah, so red, black, and then it's 7 years, and then it's another 7 years.
So he's only at
10 years.
No, according to this, he's only going to be at his
6th degree.
Yeah, at this, I think he said is his last stripe. So 6th stripe black belt. The progression to second degree typically takes about 3 years after you earned your first degree.
And then they call it, so it's perfect. Wow. So it's black belt title, black belt. Wow, that's crazy. So grandmaster. I don't know if I could ever get behind anyone calling me grandmaster. 15 years. So for 10th degree black belt, dude, it's 15 years from your, and you're 82 and up. Holy cow.
82.
Yeah, for grandmaster 10th degree black belt. Like, can you imagine? And so everyone's like, I love when the 30-year-olds are like, am I too old to train jiu-jitsu? And then you've got these black belts, like these black belts 50, 60. How old is Bruno? Is he mid 40s?
Yeah.
Yeah. So you started early then, huh? Yeah, I mean that's a that's an event, dude. Going down there. But that's cool. How many black belts are gonna be coming up from Brazil?
I don't know, but that place is going to be shark infested.
Yeah. I mean that's a lot of. You talk about. I will say those, man, they get in there and it's like I've never trained jiu-jitsu before going against some of these guys. Literally, it's like I'm all right. I've never
No spoiled people.
Yeah, for sure, dude. But that's pretty much it as far as our podcast, you guys. If you haven't blocked us by now for talking about things like God and AI, then you're probably our people. We'll probably get along. At least for respecting our opinion, you don't have to agree with it. If you Coach Muhammad says it's better to come in person, I agree. In person is better than a like, but likes are awesome too. So if you can like and share, subscribe, do the whole nine. If you see this on our stories, help us out. YouTube, if you're watching on YouTube, throw a comment. I'm sure that helps the algorithm as well. And then we do have our Westland and Southgate spot open. So, we're excited for that. And what else do we have coming up? There's something else.
If you have any questions on the content subjects, post a question there, and I promise you, we will reply personally.
Yeah. Probably with a video. Probably with because you can do video replies now. Those are good. Because sometimes text, like people read text how they're feeling. There was something else I wanted to promote, like or put out. Like, so we have the Westland spot doing pre-enrollment. Summer camp is coming. Y'all, if you haven't signed up for summer camp, it is popping this year. Like, so make sure you sign up for summer camp, Southgate, Canton, Livonia, as well. So Canton's going to be at our new Canton location, literally in-house in this building, and super stoked about that as well. So other than that, y'all, appreciate you guys tuning in. Quite a few people, especially later on. You know what I saw? The longer this went, the more people we have watching.
Good to see you guys.
All right. As always, guys, we'll see you
on the mats.